The storm outside howled like a wounded soul, wind battering the old Miller house. Inside, a different kind of storm brewed, one between a son, his wife, and the father who had loved him more than life itself. Daniel Miller stood by the fireplace, fists clenched, his jaw tight with anger. "Claire can't take this anymore, Dad," he said. "You're always criticizing her cooking, her choices, her ways. This is our home now, not yours." Across the room, George Miller sat quietly on the old recliner, a faded Bible resting on his lap. His silver hair glowed softly in the firelight. His voice, though weak, carried warmth. "Danny, son, I only try to help. I don't mean harm." Claire stood near the doorway, arms crossed, face a mix of hurt and pride. "He's not listening, Daniel. He makes me feel like a stranger in my own home." Daniel turned back to his father, his heart splitting in two directions, between the woman he loved and the man who had raised him. "Dad," he whispered, "maybe it's best if you stay somewhere else, at least for a while." George looked at him for a long moment, not angry, not bitter, just sad. "I see," he said softly. "The Bible says a man leaves his father and mother to join his wife. I suppose it's time I learned that verse in a new way." He rose slowly, grabbed his worn coat, tucked his Bible under his arm, and walked toward the door. Before leaving, he turned back and said with a trembling smile, "Take care of each other, son. That's what matters most." And then, with the rain pouring outside, he disappeared into the night. The house felt colder after that. Days turned into weeks. Claire was cheerful at first, but Daniel wasn't. The silence of his father's room haunted him, the faint smell of coffee and aftershave still lingering. Sometimes, he caught himself setting 3 plates at the dinner table, then remembering too late. One night, while Daniel sat alone watching TV, a commercial flickered on, a nursing home appeal showing elderly people smiling, holding hands, grateful for visits from their families. Daniel's throat tightened. He picked up his phone to call his dad, but put it down again. "Tomorrow," he told himself. "I'll go tomorrow." But tomorrow never seemed to come. A few Sundays later, Daniel and Claire decided to attend church. It was supposed to be a peaceful morning, a way to reconnect, to start new. The pastor, an elderly man with kind eyes, began the sermon with a passage from Luke 15. Greater than, but while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Daniel's heart thudded. He felt his hands go cold. Every word hit him like a hammer. The father saw him, and forgave him, and loved him anyway. He looked around. The church was quiet, heads bowed. But inside Daniel, a war raged. He remembered the nights his father stayed up helping him study for exams. The mornings he made breakfast when Daniel's mother died. The way he cheered at every baseball game, no matter how bad the weather. Tears stung Daniel's eyes. After the service, the pastor placed a hand on his shoulder and said gently, "Sometimes God speaks loudest through silence, son. Maybe he's asking you to listen." Daniel nodded. "I think I've been deaf for too long." The next morning, he drove straight to the nursing home. The highway stretched long and lonely. Rain started to fall again, light at first, then heavier, as if heaven itself wept with him. He rehearsed his apology in his head. "Dad, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Please come home." But when he arrived, the nurse's expression stopped him cold. "You're Mr. Miller's son?" she asked softly. "Yes," Daniel said, smiling nervously. "I came to take him home." Her smile faded. "I'm so sorry. He passed away last night, peacefully, in his sleep." The words hit Daniel like a blow to the chest. He felt the world tilt beneath him. No, he can't be gone," he whispered. The nurse handed him a small box. Inside was his father's Bible, worn, familiar, and marked with tiny notes in the margins. Tucked inside was a folded piece of paper. Daniel opened it, hands trembling. "My dear son, if you're reading this, I'm with the Lord now. Please don't carry guilt. I've already forgiven you, long before you asked. Remember what Jesus said, love one another as I have loved you. That includes forgiveness, son. You made me proud, always." "Dad." Daniel's knees gave way. He fell to the floor, clutching the Bible to his chest, tears soaking its pages. Months passed. Daniel changed. He left his high-paying corporate job and started volunteering at the church. Every weekend, he visited nursing homes, sitting with lonely elders, listening to their stories, holding their hands when their families didn't come. He built something beautiful, a small shelter for abandoned seniors. He called it George's place. When asked why, he'd simply smile and say, because love should never be left out in the rain. One evening, while locking up the shelter, Daniel sat on the porch with an old man named Harold. They watched the sunset turn the sky gold. Harold said softly, "You must have had a good father to teach you kindness like that." Daniel looked up, eyes glistening. "I had the best. I just realized it too late." He opened his father's Bible, the same one he carried everywhere, and read aloud the verse his father had underlined in faded ink. "Greater than, do not forsake your father and mother when they are old." He smiled through the tears. "Guess I'm finally learning what that means." From that day on, Daniel made it his mission to remind others, through speeches, church events, and quiet acts of service, that parents are not burdens. They are living lessons in love, patience, and grace. And every night before sleeping, he would whisper, "Good night, Dad," knowing somewhere above, George was smiling back. Moral: never let pride or pressure drown out the voice of love. Parents give us everything they have, not because they must, but because they choose to. Cherish them while they're still here, for once they're gone, no apology can reach heaven's gates.